Off a 2-1 shootout victory on Wednesday against the Vegas Golden Knights, the Devils travel to Salt Lake City, and the same score is recorded and the same result, the victory for the Devils 2-1. But this in regulation, as Chico with the victory, the Devils, and I know it's early and it doesn't matter, a lot of games to be played, but they're in third place in the Metropolitan Division. It's that tight. It's going to be that kind of a race. But I like the fact that they've come up with 2 straight wins, 3 of their last 4, and maybe starting to find a little something.
Well, that's the business of confidence, right, man? How do you build confidence? It's by winning. And you know what it's really, too? By the whole team making big plays. Like we saw Brown just taking a wicked blast as he blocked the shot, and then he scored a goal. That's what it is. I'm not looking for, but you're right, you got to get points, too, right? Because that does matter, and it is so tight that every point does matter. And when you get a win, 2 wins in a row, actually, the way the Devils have, Manny, you can't imagine how good you feel in your own play, but also in the players that are sitting in that room with you. And I just think this is a big shot of confidence for the New Jersey Devils.
I would think so. And you know, not to say that you don't want to score a lot of goals, but I would think this is a little more satisfying than, say, what Anaheim is experiencing, or rather Dallas is experiencing in Anaheim, where they've got the big lead and they're going to win going away.
No, you're absolutely right, Matty. That's the way players function. Devils know that if they get their players back, yeah, we can win there because you get those guys back and they can score. But what can we do when we're without them? Well, you know what? We can play a really smart game, hard game. I mean, what impressed me the most, Matty, I got to tell you, is the third period. I wondered how the Devils would approach it. They continued to attack on the forecheck, very aggressive, but they never gave up 3-on-2s or 2-on-1s or breakaways. They didn't. They were so responsible, both sides of the puck. It's just going to be a satisfying ride home.
Well, they get ready for Buffalo on Sunday, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it's a winnable game against Buffalo at home, and then they wrap up against the Islanders, and that'll be a challenge. But, they can gain some significant momentum going into the break, but it won't matter until they do it. But I say some of this stuff mostly for our great fans, loyal and dedicated as they are, but, like you hear some of the complaints and the comments, oh, this should have been done, this is not done, this guy's not good enough, etc. Well, the Devils don't have Jack Hughes, and they don't have Timo Meier, so they're not going to score a lot of goals. And they've been banged up on the defense, but Brett Pesce has come back, and you can see what his impact is. Is it coincidence that he comes back and the Devils only allow 1 goal? How much more comfortable are the goaltenders with Pesce added to that mix of defenders?
Well, he's our best overall defensive defenseman, right? So you can't underestimate what that means. But here's why players live one day at a time. And you were just talking, well, if they can beat Buffalo. And I get that. That's what fans do. But imagine if you're a player and you think, okay, now if we can beat Buffalo, we can beat the Islanders, we're going to be really, really going. But what if they don't? Then they'd be down. So don't get too high, don't get too low.
The man who joins us outside the Devils dressing room is Brett Pesce. And, Brett, I don't know if you heard all those kind words we said about you. We set it up nicely so that you would be accommodating. No, you always are. But, yeah, I mean, listen, you've come back, not a coincidence. You solidify things. But the Devils playing defensive hockey brilliantly, just 1 goal allowed in each of the last 2. What's your satisfaction level about what you've seen and what you've contributed to since coming back?
Yeah, first and foremost, it starts with the goaltenders, Jaker and Markey. I don't know if we win these games without them playing so well, and that gives us a lot of confidence, right, when we're getting timely saves. And I thought we did a great job of packing it in and kind of keeping them to the outside when they were kind of buzzing around there. And yeah, we got a lot of confidence in our group and our structure and how we need to play, and we're getting comfortable playing in these 1- and 2-goal games, and that's what you kind of need in the playoffs. So
exactly, Pesh. I just want to say, Pesh, talk about the third period. I was wondering, how the Devils going to approach it. You tell me what you saw overall in that third period from your fellow players.
Yeah, you know what? We didn't have our best tonight. I thought that was pretty obvious, but it's a good team. It's a long road trip. Good teams find ways to win. So, kind of going into that third period with the score equal, it was huge for us because we could just find a way to win and pack it in, and our power play comes up big, our PK comes up big, and like I said before, good teams find ways to win and take care of the third period, and I thought we did a good job of that.
Well, you know what, Brett? What really impressed me was you guys were pretty aggressive on the forecheck,
Mm-hmm.
but you weren't giving up 3-on-2s
Yep.
or two, right? But I thought they're not sitting back.
Yep.
Did you see it that way?
No. We stress that we're such a fast team up front. I think we have arguably the fastest forward group in the league. So
really,
yeah, I think that I think we always should err on the side of aggressiveness, and I think the best defense is playing offense in their zone. So we did a good job of kind of hemming them in for a bit and kind of taking away their confidence.
No question. That was evident in that third period, particularly. Take us through the final stretch there. Penalty is called. They got the power play. The goalie has left for the extra skater. They call a timeout. Just take us through the last few seconds of just wild play.
Yeah, a little stressful for sure. But you know what? It's a privilege to be on the penalty kill in the National Hockey League, and I think every guy who steps over those boards feels the same way. We take a lot of pride in it, and we knew we needed to get the job done no matter how we were going to do it, block shots, whatever it needed to be. And, special teams is so big in the NHL, it arguably just kind of wins games for you, depending on, if the power play scores, PK gives up one. So we did a great job of locking it down.
Pesh, I'm always interested about human nature, and that's a big part of this game. So had you ever been out 24 games before? Had you ever been out that long?
Yeah, I don't know.
But here's what I'm saying, Pesh. Okay, last game you're all fired up emotionally, and you played awesome. Not only defensively, you had a couple of great offensive chances. Was tonight a little different kind of feeling and preparation?
For sure, yeah. Tonight felt like I didn't play it for 2 months, to be honest. But, I'm expecting that. It's going to take a few more games to kind of get back up to the speed. No matter kind of what you do, it's you could ride a bike all you want or, whatever. But, you have to just get in the games and get throwing the fire to get up to speed. So I'm still adjusting for sure.
Well, it was a good sight to see all around by you and your mates tonight. Thanks very much for your time, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brett.
Now, the game didn't go overtime, so he wasn't going to get a chance to play as much as he did the other night. But he still had 1950 of ice time. So, still among the leaders. Listen, you just call on the big guy, and let's go.
Well, yeah, you do, and there's a bunch of big guys in the National Hockey League, as Matty said, but they're all a little bit different, and that's what I like about Pesh. I mean, he's from Sleepy Hollow. He had to fight his way through the minor juniors of New Jersey, and then he had to go to college. And I mean, what I love about him is that he is one of the best big guys. He is, like even Jacob Slavin and the players in Carolina said that, this guy was great. So you know what I mean? He is special, Matty. And tonight, okay, maybe it wasn't his absolute best game, but the other thing is if he makes a mistake, which everybody does, he's one of the best at trying to figure out a way to cover it up. And that's what you want, and it doesn't very seldom does it lead to goals.
Devils win by a score of 2-1. 5 shots apiece for Nico Hischier and Dougie Hamilton. They led the way. Devils had just 22 shots on goal. 7 of Dougie's tries were blocked.
He was shooting, though, wasn't he?
He was. I'm going to keep shooting.
Yeah.
For Utah, 4 shots apiece for Lawson Krause, Sean Dursey, and for Dylan Gunther. A hard luck loser in goal was Karl Vejmelka, and Jacob Markstrom with a terrific night in net. Now 9-7-1 as the Devils win by a score of 2-1. So let's check out some highlights of tonight's game. When we go back to the first period, the Devils not as sharp as they might be. Again, really, Utah wasn't as sharp as you would like. There were turnovers and errant passes, but eventually there was a tripping penalty called on Dougie Hamilton at 8:10, and Knight, a goal, a moment that Daniel Boot will always talk about. Puck came in the zone, not cleared by Hughes, blocked by Jersey, finds a man in front, and they score. Oh, baby, what a goal. The first by Daniel Boot. His first NHL goal, and this is his 10th game. And a moment that, as I said, he'll talk about forever. Congratulations to him. But he was aided by a puck that sat, as you said, just beautifully for him.
Oh, it didn't sit flat. It sat on its edge, and then he made the most of it. He put it up under the crossbar, and he was smiling, Matty. You knew it was his first goal. But, 10 years from now, you remember your first goal? Yeah, I remember it, but you know what? We didn't get the win, so it wasn't as special as I hoped. But at that time, it looked pretty impressive.
10th game in the National Hockey League for the 20-year-old Russian, a first-round draft pick by the Arizona Coyotes in 2023. The Devils had an opportunity to tie it up. Boot was called for a trip at 11 minutes. At 12:03, Nate Schmidt was called for a cross-check. Devils 57 seconds of 5-on-3 power play time. They came close, but close doesn't count, does it, Nico Hischier? 15 to go in the 5-on-3. Nason has it. Far corner to Brad. Gives it off to Luke. Plays it off his skate. Gives it back to Brad, who plays it off his skate. Now it's Brad again. Time winding down on the 5-on-3. Here's Hischier with a drive save made by Vejmelka. Puck behind the net. Boot out of the box. Hischier with the puck. With a snapper save. Rebound is loose. Another try by Hischier. And that's knocked in the air and covered up by Vejmelka. So 5-on-3 for 57 seconds. No goal. Mm-hmm. Against Vancouver, 5-on-3 for a minute 18. No goal. Mm-hmm. Against Anaheim on Saturday, 5-on-3 for 45 seconds. No goal. 3 minutes of 5-on-3 in 3 of the last 4 games. So I'm asking you, now Vejmelka obviously made a couple of big saves, so the goalie's a big part of it, but is there something about a 5-on-3 that sometimes slows teams down from being direct and fast and active?
I think you're right, Matty. I mean, it's such an advantage. You think we should be able to open up a tic-tac-toe play where we get a pass to somebody who's wide open and they score. But that's very seldom the case, is it? So the Devils kept trying to do that, but and I think it was Hischier had one chance, but no puck luck again.
And so it was a 1-0 lead for Utah going into the second period. Jacob Markstrom, he probably figures, well, I would say most goalies figure I can't give up more than one. They're just thinking, I got to keep the puck out of the back of the net. But it's accentuated, it's magnified when the Devils don't have a lot of goal scoring at their disposal. So Markstrom had to be sharp, and he was on Sean Durzi. Michael Carcone snaps a hard pass for Haight. Now to Carcone, cross-ice, Durzi. Wrister save, rebound in front, and Markstrom able to glove it, and we'll have a face-off. Oh, baby. And that was a second period where Utah really came on. 18 shots in the second for the Mammoth, but Jacob Markstrom kept them at bay. Then the Devils, as time continues in the second period, they were able to take advantage of Connor Brown's hot hand. And now the Devils hand it off to Hamilton. Drops it for Brown. Brown left wing side. Has it on the backhand. Moves behind the net. Plays it for Hamilton in front. But Durzi intercepted. Now it comes to Brown. And he scores. He rifles it home. Bar down, baby. And we are tied at 1. 9th of the season for Connor Brown. His 3rd goal in his last 4 games. Nico Hischier with the assist as he grabbed that loose puck away from Sean Durzi. And that was a nice play by Connor Brown.
Great play. And, Matty, when the games are this tight and you say there's so many one-goal games, generally it's going to take something special from a player to score the goal. And Brownlee was special as he rifled that upstairs.
11:21 the time of the goal. Hischier picking up the only assists given out, and we were tied at 1 going into the third. Devils had an early power play. Mikhail Sergachev called for a trip at 3:11. The Devils power play, which has had its issues, including the 5-on-3 that we discussed earlier. But the fact of the matter is that all sins are forgiven on the play of the game. Brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. Heischer in deep. Finds an open man. Nason. The blast is stopped by Vejmelka. Now out high is Luke. For Heischer. Heischer looks around. Long wrist shot.
Yeah.
Save, rebound. They score. Stefan Nason hops all over it. And the Devils, on the power play, have taken the 2-1 lead. Nason's third goal of the season, first power play goal of the year at 4:20. Heischer and Hughes with the assist, a 2-point night for the Devils captain. And, you know, the long-range bomb, it was a hard shot. Vejmelka turns it back, but then he just says, well, it's not working out high, I guess. I'm going to go down low.
Well, and that is so true. I saw the replay, and it's a straight line to the goalie, and it's one of the least dangerous shots seemed like when it was taken from the point, but goaltender mishandles it. And then, as I saw, I got to give Nason a little more credit, Matty. He had to pull it a little bit, had to pull it around the leg of the goaltender, and then he buried it in the open cage.
So off a year in which he was outstanding with 22 goals and 11 power play goals, it's been a slow start for Stefan Nason. Now, he had surgery, later in the offseason than normal. He was trying to rehab it regularly, and they decided, no, you're going to need surgery, core injury, abdominal injury. And so maybe he's just coming back. What a good time to return to form.
Well, I haven't. What I see is I see the play, and he took it and he buried it. I haven't seen him get these chances earlier and miss them. He had that one time, remember, just before that. But again, I just think he's thinking, if not me stepping up to score, who with all these injuries? And you saw he loved it, the smile on his face and the feeling he got from scoring the game-winning goal. You can't measure that. That's just what players are always looking for.
As we heard from Brett Pesce, give credit to the goalies in the last two games particularly, as they gave up just one goal. Jacob Markstrom made sure that Nason marker stood up. Barrett Hayton for Gunther, a blast save by Markstrom. That kid's got a cannon with a capital C. But Marky Strong, as he was, as it stayed 2-1, and then a little later on, it was Jack McBain who was robbed by Markstrom. Carcone drives across the line, tries to get a step on Luke Hughes, won't let him, plays it out in front, saved by Markstrom, and we'll have a face-off. McBain with a jam try, but Markstrom continues his strong performance. And he did right to the very end on that power play by the Utah Mammoth. The puck never crossed the line.
Nope.
Nico Heischer knocking a puck up out of midair as it was tantalizing from a Utah standpoint, headed toward a net.
Yeah, and Markey and Nico Heischer will have a good laugh about that. But, when things are going well, Matty, they just keep falling into place. And tonight they did for the Devils. But also, the Devils, they didn't really do anything, Matty, to blow up. No breakaways. I can't remember hardly a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2. They just had a terrific, tight game tonight.
On Sunday, Markstrom allowed 2 goals on just 15 shots. Tonight, a heavier workload. He allowed 1 goal on 33 shots, and he spoke to Amanda Stein after the game.
Just a heck of a performance by this team that maybe you guys aren't always at the top of your game, but if you stick to your fundamentals, this team can etch out a victory here.
Yeah, no, great team effort, and PK came up big in the end of the second, early third, and also in the end of the game with 6-on-4, and then power play, gets us a big goal. So that's a different end of the game.
And really, can you talk me sort of through that 6-on-4 at the end there, and just the way you guys have maybe Brownie's play and patch block and shot?
Yeah, I mean it's nothing new really. I feel like they do it every game, and they're having Pesh back makes a big difference. He's a great leader and he's a great player, and he's eating pucks out there and he's not afraid, and we're happy to have him.
I know obviously you're not one of the skaters, but so you're not playing on the power play or anything like that. But when you know where things were going, and to finally have this team score a power play goal, what does that sort of do for the overall feeling in a room? Right, like when it's able to contribute like that.
No, I think it's timely goal, and then. It's a game of momentum swings. I feel like out there, and especially on the road, if they they killed a few, and then they, try to tilt the ice, and they got the fans behind them. And then, when we got a big goal there, it was kind of, we can keep pushing and, to first of all to get ahead, but also, to keep the momentum. And, it's a game of momentum swings, and I thought we did a good job today.
What does a grind-out win like this do for you guys just moving forward?
No, it's good. I mean, it's 2 wins in a row now, and we just gotta keep grinding and bring this game to the Rock.
Do you feel that like those fundamentals over the last 2 games, that from what you've seen and what you've played in, sort of just is a really good foundation building piece here? Because it's been hard to string together wins.
Yeah, I mean for sure. But it's hard to say. I think we're working hard and we're battling every game, and sometimes it doesn't look like it, and we don't get the result we wanted, but we're working hard, and no one wants it more than we do in this room, and you just got to keep grinding. It's a long season, and you can't get really, you got to stay tunnel vision and on the long-term goal and try to find the game and something to build on every day.
Thanks, Marky.
Thank you.
At least he didn't say can't get too high, can't get too low.
And you know what I want to say, Matty, just in general? The Devils are at the top of their game, folks. They are. They beat Vegas in a shootout. What are we expecting? Like today, you tell Stefan Nason he wasn't at the top of his game. You say to Marky, we know we were. No, these guys, Matty, like Marky said on that interview, we are battling so hard, and they are at the top of their game, and it's resulted in 2 great wins.
And 3 out of their last 4, first 2-game winning streak since they strung 3 in a row together from the 24th of November through the 28th of November, and that was when they ended that 3-game span with a shutout over Buffalo, who is the opponent coming up on Sunday at Prudential Center. So a good night for the New Jersey Devils, and they're starting to cook a little bit. Long way to go, but it looks a lot better when you're sitting in a playoff spot than not.
Well, yeah, and you're winning games the right way with what you've got. This is what they are, and they're finding a way to win. And, the second efforts. I mean, I just could go on, and you could too, Matty. But what I love about these games, same thing as Vegas, everybody contributed. And when you do that, you're not always going to win. You're going to lose some 2-1. But the last 2 games, they won 2-1. So let's be happy and celebrate and move on.
Before we say goodnight, let's check in with our folks from Madison Square Garden Networks as they interview head coach Sheldon Keefe.
Back-to-back stellar goaltender performances from your guys out here on the road. What can you say about how he performed tonight and allowing the team to really grow through today's game and pull out the win?
I think that's a perfect way to describe it. This one's on him tonight. We don't get the opportunity to hang around in the game and have big moments like we did in the third period with penalty kill and power play. If not for Marky and how he held us in. We're outplayed for long stretches of the game here today, but it's going to happen from time to time, and goaltenders can step up for you, and they certainly did on this trip. But Marky today was excellent, and that gave the guys confidence to keep playing.
Well, Sheldon, what can you say about the resolve of the team? The special teams through the first 40 minutes were not good, but you get a couple opportunities. Big kill to start the period, big kill to end the period, and the power play got the job done. Yeah,
that's it. Like I said, Marky's play allowed us to hang around and have those moments to sort of make up for them, if you will, for our play in the first couple periods on power play and penalty kills. We have to start the third period on the PK. That can be daunting mentally. You got to sit through a whole intermission and wait to get out there. But the guys did a great job. Power play, again, wasn't the prettiest, but found a way to get us the goal that we needed. And then again, fitting that the PK has to, find a way 6-on-4 to grind it out at the end there. So, this is a gutsy one here today. Sometimes they're going to look like this, and to come up with 2 points is a lot better than the alternative.
What you can say about the last 3 wins? You guys have only conceded 1 goal in each of those games. In terms of the level commitment to defending? Yeah,
well, I think, like we just talked about, the goaltending has been great. I mean, that's 2 in a row for Marky now, and Jake, of course, the other night was outstanding in Vegas. It gives us a chance to win, but I think there is part of that is the guys defending in front. Today, not as strong. They made lots of plays, but I think for the most part, we did a pretty good job of not allowing the clean high end and high danger chance. It was stuff that Markey could see or had the ability to recover on, and I think that's because of a little extra commitment defensively. But I think in all 3 games, it's on the back of great goaltending.
What is a moment sort of like of grinding out a win like this? Maybe when you're not at your best, but being able to find a way to get those 2 points, and what does that sort of do for the mental process?
Yeah, it's important. We've been talking about, trying to build something here in our game, and we've been up and down, win one, lose one. I think coming in today we won 3 out of 5. We're now 4 out of 6, and it doesn't necessarily feel that way because our play hasn't been something that we've repeated, in back-to-back games. This one is different, but it's still gutsy and goes a long way for the team. And trying to pick up points. These are 4 tough points. It's it's not easy travel getting out here and to Vegas and back out here, and won't be easy going back home with a quick turnaround again at home. But you're trying to buy some time and get some points, and I think we'll get some bodies back when we get home for Sunday, which will be great and probably very much needed.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Sheldon Keefe hinting at a return of someone to the lineup.
Who could that be? There is only one person I could think of.
Well, Jack maybe, Timo Meier maybe.
Oh, you think Jack?
Well, I'm just.
I didn't know. I thought he was scheduled, but Timo Meier, I would think
that's what it sounded like,
yeah,
right?
And you caught that well. Though I don't know about Jack. I thought he had to see the doctor, but maybe he has because I'm not privy to that.
Yeah, no, that's the report, and that will take place reportedly earlier this week. I was just throwing out the guys who are returning because we know that Gritsuk is a bit, and we know that Nemitz is a bit. So there's only one of.
That's what I'm saying.
It's only down to 2. I'm
going Timo Meier.
Well, that would be a sight to see. Don't know if he was confirming that, but he certainly was hinting at it. Devils would love to see Timo back in the lineup as he's gone back to Switzerland on a personal matter. So the Devils take on Buffalo on Sunday. We'll see if Timo's in the lineup. We'll have the coverage right here on the Devils Hockey Network.